Good evening, everybody. Hopefully you can hear us and you can see us. As always, it's always a bit of a gamble to know if we're live and working. Now, I can tell that Pete is over in the corner trying to see if we are live and working because I keep hearing a gidif of your screen. Why are you not on silent this week? I don't normally
I'm on silent.
Are you?
Very much on silent.
What's that about? I don't normally get the cute little noise of that as it refreshes.
Well, there's me thinking the cute little noise was me.
No, sadly not. So how are we all this evening? Are we all well and dandy? I hope you are. It's always a pleasure to be with you all. This evening is what we class as our Monday night playtime. And that basically means I don't overly have too much of a plan of what we're going to do. We have a couple of kits to play around with that will hopefully give you a bit of inspiration. But this is more an evening of you guiding us. So if there are any techniques or tips or products you would like to know more about, then ask us in the comments and we'll do our very best to answer them for you, because that's really what this evening is all about. But if you don't have questions, don't panic. We will just have a little play around and see what we can create. Now, a couple of things before I forget. There will be a competition for you to win whatever I make this evening. If you're watching this on catch up on our YouTube channel, YouTube channel after the Monday night natter, the competition will have sadly closed. We are working on broadcasting our lives live on YouTube as well as on Facebook, but I'll be honest, we have to have 1,000 subscribers to be allowed to do that, and we're not quite there yet. We're on about 700 and something. So if you're watching this and you'd like us on YouTube permanently, make sure you've subscribed, and of course share the knowledge of our YouTube channel if you don't mind. It's a bit of a ghost town over there at the moment. I need to do a bit more on there. It's just trying to find all of the hours in the day to do it, but we are trying to build our YouTube channel and more content will be coming shortly. So before I forget, let's say good evening to Peter, who is as always on hostage cam. Say good evening, Peter.
Good evening. Sorry, I was too busy watching the bits cascade down to the floor.
Cascade, that's a very pretty word.
Isn't it? I hope you're all okay.
I love the word cascade.
But yeah.
We have new shelving behind me this evening. Hopefully you can see this. It's very lovely. It's very nice. It's filled full of all of our products. You will notice towards this end there is a little gap.
I've
this
just
little
noticed.
gap. It needs filling, doesn't it? Maybe next week. Muhaha. We'll see. But yes, something I reckon would fit nicely in the little gap there. But across the rest of the shelf, you can see Pete's pointing to possibly new things at this end that haven't yet come out. But you know, that's fine. You know they're coming, so they're just not yet ready. But they're coming. But that side, that gap, that's coming next week. So I can't tell you about that. What you can deduce, I like that word as well.
Like you do a little game show with your little bits of pointing to the shelves and.
Well, what you can deduce from this is what's coming in that gap isn't any part of any of that lot, because if it was, it would already be here. So something new next week to fill that gap. And yes, it is a bit game show-esque. Price card. Sorry,
I don't know what game show. We could ask for suggestions.
I don't. Let's not chat game shows again this evening. We chat game shows far too often. We all know supermarket sweep is the one I can do before I forget about it.
Yeah.
Let's say good evening to some people now. I'm blind, so we're gonna have to bring this over a little bit. Sorry, all. So good evening, Yvonne. Good evening, Alison. Good evening, Joyce, Kim, Linda, Sheila, Wendy, Samantha, Pauline, May, Lynn, Kathleen, Wendy, another Kim, a lovely Diane, Lou, and it keeps getting lost again, Angela, Pippa, Sue, oh, lovely Julie and Barry are with us from Craft Bliss as well. Judy from America's with us, Colorado. Judy's from. Lovely to have you all with us. I hope you're all keeping well and up for just an hour of nattering, really. Nothing overly taxing this evening. Just a bit of a chit-chat, really, and see what we're doing. Now, as I have already mentioned, next week, of course, is our sneaky peek night, isn't it? So next week, we'll be able to introduce you to a brand new collection. I'm really excited about this one. It's very cool. It's going to complement collections we've already bought out this year without telling you too many bits and bobs about it. Yeah, I think that's probably all I'm allowed to tell you, really. That, and don't forget the little gap at the end here. That's going to be filled with something. So we'll come to that again next week and tell you more about that one. So tune in next Monday at 7 when we reveal all about that. Now don't forget, if you're just joining us, because I think we started a little bit early, if you have any questions this evening for us that we can help with, if you want to know about texture pastes or glitters or ink pads or gilding flakes or how to use sticky stuff glue or any of the other bits, then yell in the comments and we will do our best to answer them for you. If not, I have a few demos and we will have a little bit of a play. Now, as always, especially when we are doing our Monday Night Natters, it is the most important part of the evening is that we ask our stockists, if they're with us, to pop a comment in the comments. Pop a comment in the comments, I suppose that's right.
Go with
Pop
that.
a comment in the comments with a link to your websites or your stores, or where basically we can all track down my goodies, because as you know, we don't sell direct. So although we do have a very fancy website, which you can go on and you can see all of the goodies and you can have a look for all of the samples, you can't purchase for it. It's going to direct you to our lovely stockists. So if our stockists are with us and you'd like to just skip going to that website to go straight to the goodies, give us your links in the comments, and then that way everyone knows where to go. So, what should we do first? Should we do a card? You're chuckling already, I feel.
Diane thinks your gap will be filled full of sweets.
Oh, sweets sound good, Diane. We could do with sweets, couldn't we? We could do
What
with
sweets, though?
What sweets?
Mm.
What sweets?
Don't know what sweets you'd pick, though.
Me, there's a
Fruit
list.
jellies you like, don't you, at the minute?
I do like fruit jellies. But yeah, let's not go off on tangents.
No, there's
Mini
not.
eggs, we confessed this morning, didn't we? Have you seen our very bizarre post today where we've taken you through a day last Monday? Last Monday was a bit of a bonkers day because we did 2 shows at the craft store and then we come back and did our live. It's probably the hardest I've worked in a long time. So we decided we better document that day so you get to see us wake up and go through the day. It's all a bit scary. Apparently it's a trend. According to Sophie, my lovely niece, she's like, everyone's doing it on TikTok, so
I'll be there filming
TikTok,
next time.
I don't think anyone needs to see this wake up in film version. I think a picture was bad enough. But apparently it's a trend, so we've joined in with a trend. Very rare we do that, but we're trying. So let's have a little look. Have we missed any other comments and bits? Good evening, Charlene. Charlene says toffee for lunch. Very good.
Easter eggs
Laurie
for
is with us.
breakfast.
Laurie says, with the sticky stuff glue, how do you clean your stamps? I just use like hand wash, you know, like we have a hand wash little thing beside the sink and I tend to use that. You can of course use a stamp cleaner if you prefer, but basically just warm soapy water would be absolutely fine to take it off. I will be honest, I've used other brands. I've used our brand, of course. I actually find our brand, because I very rarely bother to clean them off, our brand does actually seem to kind of go off on its own a little bit. And I'm trying to find a stamp in my little packet here. This stamp is one that we did on a show, I believe, with the sticky stuff glue, and I've never washed it, but I have been stamping with it since and it's been perfectly fine. I'm not saying you should leave yours, I'm just lazy, so I tend to. I once read an article from Tim Holtz that told me he doesn't clean his stamps. I don't think he was using sticky stuff glue, admittedly. I think he was just using his inks probably, but that was a green light for me to never have to clean a stamp again unless I really, really needed to, so I don't tend to. But with sticky stuff glue, it is a good idea to get it off if you can.
I'm laughing at you and your comments as opposed to something I've read, just to clarify.
What,
Yeah,
Tim
Jamie's
Holtz-
looking at me rather concerned
Tim
that
Holtz
I'm
has given
laughing.
permission, so that's all it
Yeah.
takes. But yes, just wet wipes or soapy water should take it off quite easily. The sticky stuff glue is water-based, so it shouldn't be any problem for you to take that off, even if you do, like me, leave it on for a little while and then wish to remove it. So, keep on with your questions. Don't hesitate to throw them in. It's lovely to have them. That's genuinely what this is all about. It's nice to be able to answer them and sort of help you if we can. This week we have been sharing on our, I hate the word socials, but on our socials we have been sharing lots of cards using my triple layer look, I've called it, just because I think it's easier if I give things a name so we all know what I'm on about, because if I tend to talk in riddles. So we've been doing a lot of the triple layer look, haven't we? If you haven't seen the posts, I'm going to give you a little flash. This is what I'm on about with a triple layer look. It is where we are using the same edges but in multiple shapes, which is something I'd never thought of doing before, if I'm being honest. But when I started it, I've kind of got a bit addicted to it and it's becoming a bit of a thing in my world. And you lot seem to be loving it, which is really, really lovely, because the cards I'm going to talk to you about and share with you this evening have got some of the most likes of any cards I've ever shared, ever. So, which is really, really lovely, because I do look at the amount of likes it gets and think, well, actually, that's something they've enjoyed seeing. We'll do more of it. we'll try and share more ideas along them lines. So it might seem silly to bother to like a post, but it's always really handy to know what you're engaging with and what you're liking. So the triple layer look in this instance, to give you an idea, is of course our fluted edge with our stitch edge. So the stitch edges come in with a decal sets, whatever set we're looking at. So it's 2 sets per layer. You don't have to do that. We could, of course, stuck to a decal edge. I'll show you one of those in a moment. But we've got the fluted edge circle, we've got the fluted edge octagon, and we've got the fluted edge square, all with the matching stitches added in. We've then got the corners coming in from the kaleidoscope set, and we've got the piano, the rippled star flower. And then this is something I love doing as well. We're going right the way back to the very beginning. So the very first collection I released was our Essential collection, and in it was this foliage. So we've brought forward the foliage from the very first collection to match in with a flower from our latest collection. And this is something I really am quite passionate about, is building, we call it the florist collection if I remember rightly, but it's basically building a whole hubbub of flowers and leaves that all interchange and work together. So very first Essential flowers, which were called the Forget-Me-Not leaves. Forget-Me-Not leaves with the rippled star flowers, to give you an idea. So that's one. Then we move on, and I'll show you this one. So this one, again, we did post this one yesterday, I believe. So same again, triple layer look. This time we've gone for the postage stamp edge, and we've switched it up a bit. We've gone for the decal edge stitch line with the outside circle. So stitch line with the cog edge or the postage edge. Then for the octagon, I've left it plain. I didn't want anything on that one, so I left off the stitch or the pierced. And then for the square, we've gone with the square, but we've added in the pierce. So pierce, stitch, all matching through the postage. Rippled star blooms again, something along them lines, the latest flower on here, added in again with them leaves from the very first collection. And again, doing something a little bit different to what I'd shown you on the others, I've chose to use a plain circle in the middle to trim that out and add in the lattice instead. So it's more of a filled in middle to give a slightly different look. And of course, this time bringing in the saxophone. Then we move on to the first one I shared with you, if I remember rightly, which is our white work card. And this one's done incredibly well in the numbers game that is our Facebook likes. I think it's on about 800 and something. It's scary. 800 was the most likes I'd ever received on anything. And that was about a month or two ago. And it was the most bizarre thing. I should have dug the card out to talk to you. It was actually like this tiny little card. And usually, you know me, I make big, huge cards. And it was this tiny, tiny little card that I'd made out of scraps, sat at the table at the end of the day, just bits I'd got left over, threw a little bit of ink around it. And I was like, out of all of the times I spent hours doing things, and it's this sort of card that's made out of the junk, the waste that everyone loves, which is just what it's all about, isn't it? You think that something's great and or not, and the world sees it in different eyes. But this one I was really chuffed with because that's beat that record, and I think he's on about 880. Not that it's all about the likes, but it's lovely to see your interactions with them. So this one is the scalloped edges with the pierced details. So pierced squares, pierced octagons, and pierced circles, all going through with the scallops obviously. And then we've got the same flowers. This time we've brought in the lavish foliage, which is the latest edition, but again we've gone right back to the very beginning and added in the butterfly from the very first release. So a little bit of everything, and this is something I like to do, is go all the way through the collections, especially when we're trying out a new technique or a new style, and play and see what we can come up with. With that in mind, we introduced the most liked card I have ever made, which is this one, which is currently sitting on about 940 likes, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Given the fact that often I can share a card and not get 9 likes, 940 seems astronomically bizarre. So I don't know who's responsible for sharing it, liking it, commenting on it, but thank you all very, very much, because it's really, really kind of you. With this one, I went off on a slightly different tangent. So we've stuck to the same as this one. We've got scalloped circles, scalloped octagons, scalloped squares, all with the pierced detail. But this time I brought in the matching plain edges of the circles, the octagons and the squares to layer it all up. I've then added in the Christmas tree into the middle, which I know it's April and it's a bit early, isn't it? But I've been really surprised how popular the Christmas tree is. Even our stockists have been feeding back and ordering the Christmas tree to get it in stock, because the amount of people who are asking them, have you got Jamie's Christmas tree? Which is lovely to hear, especially in April. And then around here we've also got the ripple bloom flowers, to which I've just twisted these ones with tweezers to add in more details to create my sort of very decorative poinsettias, and then added in foliage from the Christmas set to go with it. Now I know I've done a lot of waffling and sort of just gone through cards you've possibly already seen, but there is a reason. This evening for our first demo, I thought we could actually make one of these because we've not done that before, so we're going to make one. I'm purposely showing you the back of it, haven't completely lost the plot. One that you haven't seen yet, which is a new one, so I thought we'd do that. But before we do this, have we missed any comments or anything that I need to answer?
A couple from our lovely glue lady Alison. Evening, Alison.
Good evening, Alison.
Hope all is well. I'm convincing your hubby to buy this week. Do you ever go back and play with your old dies, like canvas dies and tea bag folding ones? Because she came across hers the other day. Do I?
Not so much currently. That's a bit of a strange answer, isn't it, I suppose? So what else can I say? Obviously, those were bought. I still love them. And the canvas dies, there is kind of a loose want to do some more. I don't know.
I'm wondering what you're going to reveal then. But shall we move on to
You're just trying to get me to say nothing that I'm going to get in trouble for, aren't you? But I would, I sometimes, and I can put it this way, sometimes there are chapters that we do, or collections that we do, and I think that was great and I loved it. But not I'm done with it, but it's done what it was meant to do. It's ticked that box for me. The canvases, and even the tea bag folding. There are more we could explore with them. And there's no like immense plan as like tomorrow, just in general. So yeah, maybe we'll see more of them. And then like the canvases, one of the things I loved with the canvases, it was kind of showing you how to make the boxes. And of course the dies are great, and especially when we go off into different shapes, the dies are kind of essential. But the actual squares or the rectangles, do you like all this? The kind of wrap round bit? Feel like I should be on a plane. That bit works so well with so many dies we bring you. So for instance, like if we went for this lovely one here, this ripple bloomed oval. Oh, you're not meant to see that yet. The ripple bloomed oval, we could cut that into a panel and then score it and create our own canvas and then make that the box. And we went for a stage of doing this, and I haven't done it for a little while. But it kind of what I'm saying is these dies that stay in place, you could create your own filigree canvases with by just scoring the rest of it and making it. And I do quite like that, but I would like to do more canvases. So you might see more in time. Sorry, that was a really long answer, weren't it? Go on, Pete.
It's fine. Alison does say she needs to chat her husband up again, big time. On a serious question though, from a lovely Charlene. Hi Charlene.
Hello Charlene.
Morning Charlene. I think it's in Canada, isn't she?
She is. And do we know Canada before or after us? Because I get very confused with this.
They're 5 hours?
5 hours?
5, maybe 6 hours.
I think Charlene said she was having lunch.
She's having lunch?
She was having lunch.
She asks, do you have... I think she's suggesting you could have toffee for lunch with cream eggs for the morning. Do you ever discontinue making certain dies, i.e. will the Christmas tree you just shown still be available at this Christmas?
It will still be available this Christmas. There is no doubt about that. Do we discontinue currently? No, I'm a hoarder. We should, and it's funny, we've had this chat 2 or 3 times this week, haven't we, with different people. Me and Pete have chatted about it for a long time, different thoughts. There are times when things will have to naturally go, especially cardstock. We've had that with Clouded in something, which I can never remember the name of, Clouded in Mystery. That literally run out. It's a consumable, it's gone, we can't get no more. Dies, yes, there will become a point where we have to say, do you know what, this has had its lifespan. But where we can, I do like to try and keep them going as long as we can, which I know is very different. And I, you know, again, I don't necessarily say we do this right, but a lot of companies, especially in today's world, it's bought out today and it's gone in a couple of months, isn't it? And there's very much a quick turnaround. We might get there, but I kind of hope we don't, because it's a bit like the Christmas tree. That was last year's Christmas tree, so a lot of companies would have cleared that at the end of the year, and that wouldn't be coming back this year. And if we did another Christmas, or if we do another Christmas tree this year, how lovely will it be to be able to stack that with the last year's and sort of build up a scene and build up a story or build up a collection. So I think we're more about adding to instead of taking away where possible. And like we've told you, this isn't a secret. Like Rodney, last year we bought you Rodney as an individual snowman stamp. This year Rodney will have a family. That's currently being worked on. And but it means that Rodney will still have friends to come back and sort of be with, or a family to come and be with. So where we can, we build onto a story, not get rid of it. But that's today. Who knows? As a company, how many months old are we now? 9 months? 8 months, 9 months? We keep doing this, don't we? 10 months? 10 months? Yeah.
June, wasn't it?
So yeah, June's our birthday, so I should know able to work this out. So yeah, there will certainly become a point where we have to go, do you know what, the stockroom's at bursting point and something might have to give. But at the moment, no, not particularly. We're trying to keep everything we can. As I say, mostly as a hoarder. Okay, so let's have a little look then. So Charlene says, this is exactly what I was worried about, if I create with it and then it's not available for a class purpose next Christmas. See, this is what I mean. So we are trying not to do that. Things need a life, don't they? They need a timeline. And yeah, I think sometimes it can be a bit quick to sort of get them gone. So yeah, we're trying not to is the answer. Okay, should we do a card? Have I missed any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I still need to sort Alison her badge.
Her badge?
I've been told off.
I would tell you off. I think you deserve to be told off for many reasons. The badge is just one of them. So this is the card we're going to do. So we're sticking to our triple layer look. We're actually going to go one step further, maybe a quadruple layer look, by adding in a decollage circle. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. Let's start off at the base and work up and see what we can create. So we're going to start off with our card blank. The card blank for this one, if I remember rightly, is about 6.5 inches. And I say I should remember rightly because we made this kit about 2 minutes before we went live. It's been a funny day, but we're here. So 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. We're then going to go on with a piece of the seashell blue cardstock. So this is our lovely light blue card. And this is 6.25 inches by 6.25 inches. And we're going to place that on the top. Hopefully somewhere around there, making it level. We're then going to go in with our layers. So this is what I'm on about with the triple layer look. It's all about the layers. So we are going to bring in our decal and stitched edge squares. Now you might see the odd bit of tapes on mine. Don't worry, I'm just messy, a bit like not cleaning my stamps. I very rarely clean off my tape. So we're going to go in and we're going to find out what layer we want. Now I'm going to guess it's going to be this one. I never get this right first time, so... Oh, I don't know. No, I might be. Okay, brill. There we go. So we're going to bring in our outside edge for this project. We're going to get our mat the right way around, and we're going to then bring in our stitch edge to go over the top of it. Now, I know I often talk to you about these because it's quite important that you know this, but because we've got separate stitch edges, it means we can play around with quite a lot of what we're doing. So if I bring in the circles at the same time, and we'll do something different for this panel because we can, we've got them, so let's play. Maybe we want to go actually into the centre and add a couple of lines instead. We don't need this for this project, but it'll be interesting to see. So we'll bring in a piece of card and we'll stick that over the top. Or actually, as we're going off on a tangent, should we bring in a circle to put in the middle as well? So these are plain circles, so we're going to bring this in. I'm going to place that in the middle just to show you something different to what we're actually aiming for. And then we'll add our card on top, and if I can dig it out, we'll add our mat on top of that and we'll send it through. Now, this evening, if I've got it right, and I haven't really looked this up, so you might all know this better than I do, but I have a feeling this evening Celebrity Big Brother starts. Am I right about this? I think I'm right about this. So our question this evening for you to win the cards that we make, what we would like you to answer, and I know this is a silly question, but we desperately try to come up with fun questions for you to answer. So our question this evening, if you could choose one celebrity, dead or alive, to go into the Celebrity Big Brother house, who would it be and why? You can just tell us who if you like, but we're just being nosy really, and we'll confess who ours are in a minute as well, because it's just fun. So to win, who would you put in the Celebrity Big Brother house and why? And Pete will pick a winner in a minute. My machine didn't like that for some reason, so I'm just sending it through the other way. Not too sure why. I think there might be something under my mat. So we'll send it through the other way.
It is tonight.
Is it tonight? I thought it was tonight. I've seen pictures of the house. The house looks nice. I don't mind Celebrity Big Brother. Quite enjoyed that. So we might have to have a little watch. If you watch next week, you'll have to tell me who you like, who you don't. I've seen lots of rumours of who's going in it, but I never know if they're right or not.
Bianca.
We don't, do we?
Bianca's supposed to be.
Oh, is she? I like
She is,
Bianca.
old Patsy.
I've seen her in real life.
Oh, have you now?
Yeah, on the back of a car.
Does one dare ask? So, weirdly enough, I served Sid Owen. Was he the other half?
Are you trying to steal the thunder of my Bianca story?
It's just the link of
I
you
had a
one
whole Bianca
I had
story.
the other one.
And now you come in with Ricky. Ricky, it's not good.
Okay. So why did you see her on
No,
the back of a van?
Tell us about Sid Owen.
Oh no.
Oh no, I ain't changed the camera. Sorry, Sid Owen distracted us first time tonight. We always do it at least once.
So why was Bianca in the back of your van, or?
She wasn't in the back of my van. I'm not a kidnapper. I didn't go out in search of kidnapping Bianca.
You'd have Sonia after you.
Yeah, exactly. How did I see her in a car? On a car. This is many, many years ago. We went to watch the World Championships, I believe it was, for banger racing at Wembley. I think my cousin was in it. I think that's the one he won, if I'm honest, but something along them lines. We were there anyway. And she was sent out on, you know, at the end when you get your winners and you stick your winners out on a car and they do a little lap of the track. She was the one who handed out the trophies and did the lap on the track.
Well.
See, that's my story. That's all I've got to give you, I'm afraid. So onto our frame. We could add that on the top there if we wanted. I actually really like this. I really like the way that looks with the hole in the middle and the double-edged stitch. I hadn't really done it that way before. So that's kind of bringing in a new idea, but we're going to stick with what we're meant to be doing. And we're going to go onto our panel and we're going to stick down our corners. So come on then, while I stick down corners, you need to tell us your Sid Owen story.
Oh, there wasn't one really. He was staying. That was
so all of this hype, all of this build-up.
I used to run a Premier shop back in the day with a sandwich bar and bits back in my past of retail. And he came in the shop and he bought some shaving foam and a razor because he was staying at Henlow Grange, which is just down the road from me.
You say Henlow Grange like that? Something
it was
I
like
should
a
know.
Champneys health spa place. That's where they used to hang out.
Okay.
And Gaza used to go there. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, he was the only. He had his dark glasses on. I thought, well, I know it's you, so you know.
Did you not say, I know it's you?
No, I just said that's £10 or whatever it is, please. Thank you very much. And off he went.
Didn't stalk him?
No.
Went out to see what car he was in?
No.
No, probably for the best.
The queue of customers would have something to say.
On a side note now, if you'd like to, if anyone else has any celebrity stories of people they've seen, we could accept them as well, just because of, again, I'm quite nosy. So any celebrity related stories could also be entered, couldn't they? We quite like this. Did we have anyone's suggestions for who to stick in the Big Brother house?
There's quite a few. Good old Hi Samantha. She says, Harry Houdini, if he could escape. So, it's quite good. I like Kim's one, Kim Mole. Hi Kim.
Evening, Kim.
Stephen Fry for the conversations.
Oh, I'd like that. Yeah, a lot of people say him for like dinner parties and things, don't they? Yeah, quite like that idea. Who would you stick in, if you could?
I don't know. You'd like to be in there with Cher, wouldn't you?
No, actually.
Or Dolly? No. Oh.
Because of, you know, obviously, they're still alive. So we've still got time to strike up a friendship and them to invite me around for dinner. So I don't need to stick them in the Big Brother house as we're stretching this to dead or alive.
You might go with Diane's suggestion then.
Who's Diane suggested?
I was getting confused then. I thought I said Robin Williams. It would just be madness.
Oh, that would be good.
That would, wouldn't it?
That would be good, but no. That wasn't my guy. That wasn't my one. I'll tell you, because if not, it's going to turn into a random guessing game of dead celebrities, which is a bit weird. Barbara Windsor.
Oh,
I think Barbara Windsor would be hilarious. Like 3 weeks of listening to her laugh. would just be music to my ears.
Would you not be annoyed with it after a while? Or?
Well, I don't know. I've never had 3 weeks of Barbara Windsor laughing in my ear. Maybe if I did, I might, you know, be a little bit peeved and vote her out.
Yeah, well,
But no, I think she'd be brilliant.
Alison said she went to Henlow Grange and it was brilliant.
Oh,
She might have come in I used to run a shop called Camp Stores, Alison, back in Lower Stondon, just down the road. Maybe I served Alison.
We say nothing.
It was an RAF base. Thank you very much. Before you comment on the Camp Stores.
Stories better or worse. So
anyway, moving on to
our next layer. We're going to go in with the decal edge and stitch edges of the octagons. So exactly the same as what we did with the squares. We've got our stitch detail and our decal edge. And again, we've gone back to that lovely seashell blue. Now, I really like this actually without any layers on it, because that looks really pretty and delicate. This little corner is quickly becoming one of my favourites. The corner is one of the 4 options that comes with the kaleidoscope segments set. Pete will give us a flash in a minute of the set so you can see it. But they're lovely corners, and I really like how they fill the gaps when you're playing with octagons. But this is the set, so we've gone for this corner down here. I really like this one as well. I'm so pleased with these 2 pieces. There's going to be more in that family as well, because I really love how they've come out. So yeah, 4 corners. Your music one, your lovely flowers, and then you've got your swirly bits, and then kind of like just an ornate panel. I really like this one, but we did go for the swirls on that one, so we'll stick with them for this card too. And then on top we have got our octagon, and our octagon has gone over the edges slightly. You're going to notice this with some of these, the triple layer look idea. Really, it's down to what sizes you want to go to. If we look to this one, obviously we're on a 7.5 by 7.5. This one was a 6.5, I think, weren't it? Something like that. Did I tell you the size? I think I told you the size. 6.5. What's this one then? Is that 8? Oh, this one's 8. Sorry, I'm lying to you. 8 inches. I did one that's 7.5, somewhere around here. Oh, this one's 7.5. So yeah, so stepping around sizes to play around with kind of where you want to go. And I think we could go quite a lot smaller as well. Obviously, you've got the dies in the sets, so it's really down to where you want to be. But obviously, if you go too small, it might end up a bit heavy, having lots of layers. But I think, you know, you've got scope to explore different options. We're then going to go on with our circle. So exactly the same again, just so you don't have to watch me cut all of these bits. We have got our circle that we have used, the decal edge circle, and the stitch that comes with it, which is nice actually with this set, because of, again, of course, we have to be kind of sensible, and sometimes kind of taking into account how many bits there are to purchase is good to think of. With this one, everything comes in the sets as such, so you'll get your stitch and your edge together. It's still 3 sets, so it's still a considerable look to purchase, don't get me wrong, but it's better than having to buy lots of sets. But I know a lot of you are collecting them, and if you've got them, how lovely to see that interchangeability and that way of sort of mixing and matching between them. So once we've got to this stage, I thought it would be nice to go on to our circle area in the middle here and add in some detail. So now we're going to go back, and again we're doing this, we're going right back to the very beginning. Our very first show, we were actually released 2 of our sentiments, our circle sentiments. We've since done 4 of them, and they all have interchangeable edges to them. And it was these that started off the idea of bringing you all of the different edges in the nested shapes and how we could do that differently to what's already available. And then it gives you the option between them to intermix the different sayings in the centre. So we're going to use the With Love, which actually comes with a scalloped circle around the outside of it, but we're going to use it with the decal edge. The decal comes in with the Happy Birthday. So they were the first 2 that come out. Quickly following those, we brought out 2 Christmas versions, which gave us Happy Christmas and it gave us Merry Christmas, which gave us 4 of our 5 mats and layer options, the 5th one being the plain one. And in all of these, you do receive a plain edge, and it's the plain edge that means you can either leave it in your card or you can cut it out. So for my With Love, I've chose to use the plain edge around it to cut it out so that we can place it on top of the blue panel being cut by just using the outside edge on its own. Of course, if you've got the nested set of dies with the decal edge, you might choose to up the size of this a little So instead of sticking to that size, you might want to go for, let's have a little look, round about there maybe. So you could go for that one, and then you could add a stitch line onto the outside of that, and then place your With Love in the centre, so that that layer matches in more with the other layers. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stick with what we had created within the set, so I've stuck with the one that comes with it, or the one that comes with a happy birthday. So we're going to go back to our little blending mat with our glue on it, and we're going to find our With Love, and we're just going to go over the reverse of this. So again, as always, we're using our clear drying glue, and I'm just going to apply it with a little sponge dauber blending tooly thing, so that we get all of the areas and it's nice and glued and ready to go on the card. We can bring that in and place that over here and give that a little squidge. Any other celebrity requests?
As in, you can do impersonations, or?
No, I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay. What did our dear Wendy say? Wendy wanted to put Keir Starmer in there.
Oh, I wondered if there would be some politicians with a stick in it.
Yeah, she wants to see him rough it a bit for once.
Rough it.
Hi, Wendy.
I did wonder what politicians would get. I genuinely did. I had a feeling that there might be a few suggestions. Okay, so With Love into the middle. So we are, as I say, kind of creating the quadruple layers actually, really, but that's nice. It's nice to build up. We're then going to go on to our flowers. So we're going to use our brand new flowers. These are the ones that come out last week. This is the Rippled Bloom flowers that come all on one plate, and I'm going to see if I can find you a plate to cut one, because it's nice to see these cut. We might even cut some out of Miri actually. So this is the die set that we're talking about. So on your one die set you have got 2 of every single size flower, so it makes building them quite easy. So we're going to cut these out so you can see in Miri. As these ones cut, not only do they cut, they deboss. So all of these lines you can see marked out on there, they're all going to go in and deboss and give us some beautiful detail. So we'll do some out of some silver Miri, because I always think Miri shows up best and we can see what that's going to look like. So you really see the indentations. And Miri can be lovely because if we brush stays on over the top of it, for instance, we'll keep that colour in the indentation, but we'll colour the top another shade. And you can do this obviously with all card, but Miri, I just like the way that the sort of mirror shines through. We don't do a lot with Miri, do we really, or as much as we should. Colour-wise, we've got purple, blue, red, green, gold, silver, haven't we?
We have, there's 5, 6, 7.
Is there 7?
Which one can't I think of?
But there you can see your deboss effect. I was thinking the other day actually, and I've just moved the cards from behind me so I can't show it to you, but we had a lovely card up here all done in gold, and I was thinking I need to do another one like that but with this die set, because that was such a lovely card and it's so nice to show it to you. We're going to have to do another one with a different flower, and maybe bringing in these twiddly bits we're going to look at next. So we'll poke all these out, they all come out nicely, all done for us, all very pretty. We've got all of them, just one more in there. Oh, have I missed it? Come out, there we go. I would tap, normally I'm a die tapper, but I know how annoying that is when it comes through on your speakers. Last thing you need is that sounding like a band's arrived. So now we've got our flowers, very easy to shape for this one. We're not going to do anything complicated. All we're going to do is bring in a bone folder, we're going to hold the petal and we're going to round it. And we're just going to work all the way around the flower.
Nicola, evening Nicola, she's apologising for being late. Honestly,
Don't be silly.
Don't worry, she's just asking if you can let her know the name of the blue card you're using. She says it's lovely.
Thank you. It's Seashell Blue. Seashell Blue, it's our elite cardstock. It comes in a pack of 10 and it's 300 GSM. So it's really good for construction and building, but it's just got a nice prominence. You can die cut it, you can emboss it, you can stamp on it. Our elite card range is a lovely card range, and that is literally one of my favourite colours. There's that one and there's a soft pink, and they're kind of the ones I go to all of the time. The pink is called, that's a very good question, Rose Petal Pink. Rose Petal Pink. And those, going off on a completely different tangent, our elite colours, so far we have 6 colours of elite misters, that also correspond with a card. So that if you miss these, you've then got the matching colour cardstock to put them with. And there's 6 colours in those as well that coordinate currently. And there's Sunbeam Yellow, Gladiator Red, Night Sky Navy, Heritage Green, and then the pink and the blue. So that's a lovely little range. But it is, oh, goes me nozzle, goes me lid. Oh, it teaches me for actually putting it back on the bottle. Rare I do that. So what we're going to do now is glue our flower together. So a little bit of glue into the middle of that one. We'll shape that one up a bit more and we can place that together. And then we'll bring in a couple more layers. I don't think I've got a stays on pad up here actually, because that would have been nice to show you the stays on over the top. We might even have to send Pete on a run. I'll have a look in a drawer. Let me have a little look in my inky drawer. See if we've got our stays on. Oh, I think we have. Shall we see if it's got any life in it? There's like a 10% chance this has actually got ink in it. Let's give it a go, shall we? Let's see. So let's bring in a piece of paper. And we'll go for one of these smaller ones. Oh, that's not a silver one. Oh, I've used all my biggies. Let's go for that one. That'll do. See if we can get it. I might end up colouring myself more, but we'll give it a whirl. So just going over the top here, this is what I'm on about. It's just literally highlighting that top layer. Now you can brush it, you can literally pat it if you want to. Patting it can be quite nice because you kind of then get the texture of the ink as it lays on it, which is kind of nice. Or if you find that you're a bit heavy-handed and you need to, then you could apply it with a brayer instead. But this is, I don't know, give it a minute and see if we can, oh, there we go. So there is your sort of two-tone effect, showing you where that silver deboss bit is going to shine through. And StazOn's really lovely to do this with, but of course you can do it with other inks. So while we're at it, let's bring in one of the white ones. And I know I showed you this last week, so sorry if you've kind of seen me go on about these before. But it's truly one of the reasons we do so many deboss details on our flowers is because of this work so nicely, and it's one of my favourite things to do. So we're going to bring in this one of our quick dry ink pads. This is the Squirrel Red, and we're just going to brush this over the top. This is just our polar white cardstock, so instead of obviously going onto a non-porous surface, it's going to absorb in. Obviously for the mirror card, we're going to want one that's going to stay on those non-porous surfaces such as acetates and mirror cards. But when we're talking cardstock, then our standard inks will be absolutely fine. And just brushing that over the top creates that two-tone effect. If we do that and we actually make a card out of it, this one we demoed 2 weeks ago. So if you'd like to look back on YouTube, you will see the Facebook Live for this one 2 weeks ago, whatever the date for that might be. But it was our sneaky peek of the musical collection that we created that look with those. Okay, let's go back to our card, shall we? Shall we get this one built and finished? So we'll bring in our card again, and we're going to bring in some of our twiddly bits. So the twiddly bits I'm choosing to use this evening are my favourite twiddly bits. I do have favourites. I know I'm not meant to, but I do. These are, of course, our entwined leaves. So we've got a few of these that we're going to bring in, and this is one die cuts one of everything. Now I've got 2 sets here, so I've got a few more than your die is going to cut for you, but it will, you know, 2 passes and you'll have this many. So it'll give you an idea of how many bits and pieces it's going to cut. I'm trying to lay them out because I want to have a little look at what we're going to use and see what parts we can sort of yo-yo through to create our look. Here's the actual die, so you can see it. It's what we call a Swift die, so it's all in one panel, and it will cut all of those intricate twiddly bits in one pass through your machine. And then these are the bits that I've taken out. So we're going to bring in some tape, and we're going to cheat because I like to cheat if I can because it's quicker. So we're going to bring in some foam tape, and we're going to lay a little line of that down, and I'm just using our 1mm foam tape. I'm going to move you up a bit so you can see it, and then we're going to bring in the twiddles, and we're going to go round this base bit here, and we know that we're going to bring the flowers down quite a bit. That might be a little bit long, so we might just take a small amount there off the top. Got a bit carried away there. Take a bit off the top. We can always add in another flower if needed. We're going to go round this side, coming up with that sort of swirl, and then we want to overlap, and we're just going to shape these slightly, and we're going to go off to that side. And then maybe this one, that's kind of nice. I like this one because it's got that kind of big bulky bit here, so it doesn't just sort of fade into nothing. It's actually kind of bigger towards the bottom and then goes thinner, where a lot of the others go thin to big. So we'll bring that in and we're going to place that down. It's kind of nice as well if you're trying to cover something. It's got a bit more body to it. We're then going to bring in these shorter pieces. because we don't want to cover the word in, but we equally want to have a bit of something going over that side. So we're going to bring in 2 of these, and we're going to put one over there as well. Now that one's got a small little piece left in the middle, so we'll just take that out. And I think that'll be okay. So there's a dry one, let's have a little look. We're going to have one there. We can have one coming into there, and then one tucked into there. So I think we're good to go. So we'll start off by doing the 2 smaller ones to begin with. And we're just going to put a couple of little pieces of tape under these. So let's start off with our small ones. Anchor that one down, just again with some 1mm foam tape. And we're going to place that over the end there. And then we're going to bring in another bit, and we're going to place that one onto the reverse of this one. And we're going to come down to here. And then we're going to go for the biggie in the middle, so the biggie's sitting prominent from the others. You don't have to do it that way. I just thought that might look kind of nice, because then it looks like they're sort of growing and having sort of their little formed bit. And then all we're going to do to finish this one off is bring in a few pearls to add around the edges if I can find my tweezers. Okay. Oh, Fran says she see a demo this weekend with acrylic paint on stamps. That's great to do, yeah. I've never got into the gel plate craze, and I need to. I've got one. Do you know, it's awful, isn't it? I just imagine we can all confess something we've got in our cupboards that we've bought and not yet opened. We're all kind of guilty of that in some format, aren't we? But I've got one. I've got a big gel plate, and I've never even opened it. And I keep thinking I've got to. Maybe we'll have a gel plate evening at some stage, and we'll break it open and see what we can do with it, because I've genuinely never really played with it. Our lovely Gwen, she's brilliant with a gel plate, isn't she? I'm sure lots of you have seen Gwen on different shows and bits playing with a gel plate. She's really good with one of those, and she always inspires me, and I always look at it and think, yes, today's the day I'm going to get this out and I'm going to have a go, and I never do. So I really should. I need an incentive to do it, don't I? Okay, I think that might do it. We could just sneak one in there. So there we go. Nice and simple, nothing complicated, but there is our 3 layer look card. What's hanging on there? It shouldn't be. Oh, that's okay. So yeah, there is our 3 layer look card, created with the decal circles, decal octagons, decal squares, the decal edge that comes with a happy birthday, but of course you could use this one now if you've got those to do that layer. Might save you buying the happy birthday, and then the with love on the top there. Matched in with the ripple bloom flowers and the entwined leaves, corners from the Kaleidoscope collection. Any questions about that one, let me know. And if you haven't already told us what celebrity you'd like to lock in the Big Brother house, do so, and Pete will pick a winner at the end to send that card out to. Any questions or bits, Pete? You're very quiet.
Just engrossed in your demo.
Oh,
I know. I'd probably more focusing on if I'd cut the kit right. So.
We did do a last minute kit for that one, didn't we? It was a bit of a last minute job, that one, but it looked all right. It come together okay.
Yeah,
no big calamities. If we hadn't confessed, nobody'd know.
They never noticed, did they?
Any other celebrity confessions or requests for our Big Brother house?
No, I don't think so. We covered most of them.
No. Yeah. I don't know who else I'd lock in it other than Barbara Windsor. I don't think she'd be good.
What about Solomon, Stacey Solomon?
Oh, I should imagine. Did you know there's a new show with Stacey?
It's there.
Yeah, a new reality show that's with her and Joe on the BBC, I believe, come out this week. Okay. I haven't obviously watched it, and I don't know a lot about it, but I know it come out this week. So if you fancy a little look at that. We've been watching, what are we watching at the moment? We're watching something that's kind of scary, isn't it? What's it called? And it's all based on a true story. I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to tell you if you're interested. But it's all about a family in America that get a phone call to say that they had adopted a child and it had gone wrong. The auntie had come along and said, I would like custody of the child they had adopted. So she had to go to the auntie. And then the agency rang up and said, we've got another little girl who can come to you, and she's got dwarfism, and she's 7, and she goes to live with them. I don't want to ruin it in case you watch it, but she's not 7, and it's all a bit scary and a bit dark, and she keeps turning up in like the parents' bedroom with a knife and things like that, don't she? It's all a bit Do 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 do. I don't know if that's the right song. Do do do.
I'm not sure how lovely ladies would watch that.
No, it's a bit. I'm not good at scary stuff. I'm really not.
Yeah.
That's not my bag at all. I'm quite a wimp when it comes to stuff like that. But it is kind of interesting. I do want to know what happens. I do need to know where this story goes. And they on the end
It is
of it,
addictive. It is quite gripping. Isn't it?
American TV is quite good at this. I don't think we do it in English TV at all, if ever. But at the end of the episode, the last one we watched, they kind of show snippets of the rest of the series. Yeah, that was dangerous because now I really need to know what happens. There's little like bits that have been dropped in, little Easter eggs that now I really need to know. So yeah, we're going to have to watch the rest of that. Could you please go and get me a rubber mat and the top plate and Oh, no, I've got the right plates actually. I just need a rubber mat. I don't know why I haven't got one. I do know why I haven't got one. Do you mind getting me one? Sorry. Thank you. While Pete does that, let's see if we can start the next stage of this. So we'll start off with our butterfly while Pete does a little runner. We'll send him downstairs to see what he can find. So on this card that we're going to create next, we are going to be using one of our new Stencil Vault stencils. We're going to emboss it, we're going to colour it, but we're going to top it off with a butterfly. Now, I'm sure you've seen me do this already recently because it's something I go to quite a lot, but it really does give you more scope to what you can do with your dies. So let me see if I can find a die that we can do this with in case you've not seen. Oh, here we go, we've got the violin. Probably did this with the violin last time, but we'll show it to you with the violin again. So let's bring back in our plates a second. So if you have a die that has got aperture areas on it, and you've probably heard me go on about this far too many times, but if you've got a die with apertures on it and you want to have them filled in, the trick here is that you put 2 pieces of card onto your plate instead of 1, or on top of your die, because of most dies, whatever your machine will cut through the first layer, but they're probably not going to cut through the second layer completely. So if you put on your base colour, doesn't even have to be if you're going to use it for this project, it's just kind of like a diffuser really of the ability of the die. Then lay on top your next colour and send that through your machine. What's going to happen is the white layer will cut perfectly, the silver layer will cut perfectly around the edges, but those filigree pieces will stay in place. And that's how we can get really easy backing plates to go behind lacy dies. And it doesn't really matter what brand we're talking about or what machine we're working with. Mine's an electronic machine, as you can probably hear, which means it's got even more power, but it's still not going to necessarily cut all the way through that second layer. So our violin is actually really lovely sort of embossed into this. And you can leave it there. You know, you can see on the back, if we push it, it will come out. But actually, if you wanted to, you could pretty much put some tape over the back of that and have that as an engraved piece instead. And that could be really nice actually, because again, you might want to bring in your stays on. If it's mirror card, rub that over the top, create a different look. But if we push it and we take it out, you'll notice that the filigree pieces that are in the middle there haven't cut all the way through. So they're going to stay there nice and perfectly for us. Now again, you can normally push on them and force them through, but we don't want to do that. We want to keep them in place. So we'll then go on to our proper guitar, our top layer as such, and we'll poke this one out. I think I just called it a guitar, I mean violin. And then you can lay that over the top and you've then got silver bits in the holes so that they're now filled in. And that's exactly what I've done with the butterfly. So different die, same concept. Black for the top layers, white for the bottom layers, so that we can then layer one on top of the other and create a really cool effect. Once we've glued them 2 pieces together, I'd then take another one and form this. Ooh, come here you. Teaches me trying to hold 3 things at once. And then I could glue that one on top of the middle of that one to create my 3D butterfly that we're going to be using on the top of the card. So it's just a way of getting more dimension, more uses, more effects out of the dies you've potentially already got hold of. So what we're going to do though to begin with, now Pete is back with our rubber mat, is we're going to emboss our stencil. So we're going to take our stencil and we're going to find some tape, if I can find some. Oh, I remember where I've put it. I keep tidying up in here. Every week I do a little spring clean and then I can't find anything. It's lethal. So we're going to take our stencil and we're going to put our card on it and we're going to tape it in place. And we're taping it in place because we don't want it to move, which I know is probably the only reason we would tape it in place, in honesty, but we're going to tape it in place. We're going to flip this over so we have stencil facing down, card on top, and then we're going to place our rubber mat on the top of that. Now, again, you've probably seen me do this previously, but what's going to happen is the rubber mat is going to push the card right the way down into the apertures on the stencil, and it's going to emboss it for us. And you don't have to do this if you'd like to. You can just use the stencils to ink through, but by embossing it, we're going to get more dimension, we're going to get more effect. Something I really love with the stencil vault, and all stencils to be honest, is when you start looking at them as embossing plates as well as stencils, suddenly they take on a whole new world, and they've got so many different purposes and uses and styles that we can create with them. So we're going to take this out of the way, and we can see now that we have got our stencil still in place, still on our plate, still ready to work with. And we have, of course, embossed it. So we've got beautiful embossed work, and we could use this side. And we're not meant to be using this side, but we could use this side. And the little tip for this, if we were going to ink over the top of this, again, if you've taped your stencil in place and you bring your ink in, let's bring in an ink pad. Let's go back to that squirrel red. I love the squirrel red. And we push down on the top here. Because of the stencil still in place, although the card is getting damp, it's taking on the moisture of the ink, it's not going to start collapsing like card normally would. Card normally, if we just embossed this and we took the stencil away, when we start pushing down really hard on the top here, and the more moisture we put onto the top of it, it's going to give way. And we've probably all done that at some stage with an embossing folder, haven't we? We've embossed a piece of card and we've pushed down on the top of it, and it's kind of gone into the apertures or the holes and ended up a bit of a mess. You can do the same with an embossing folder, but this works really nicely with a stencil. By keeping the stencil in place, however hard we push down, it's not going to give way. However wet this gets, it's not going to give way. You're still going to keep that structure, and it's going to mean we can go over the top and create that effect really beautifully, really easily. Now, don't get me wrong, in big areas like here, you might still get a little bit of ink going through into the underneath of it, but you're not going to get anywhere near as much as if we're taking that stencil out of the place. The stencil really at this stage is acting like scaffolding and holding that in place for us. So we're just touching one side of it or going over the top of it without any damage. So if we flip back to this side, the side we're meant to be working on, and we're going to find a blending brush for this, and we're going to bring in, should we go oxides? Let's go oxides, let's play with oxides. The original was done with oxides, we'll play with oxides. So we'll bring in a few colours of oxide. What have we got? We'll go shaded, stormy, and let's see if we can find something a bit more punchy. We'll add in a bit of purple, and then maybe some marigold, because that's kind of a nice one. Any tips Fran's asking for embossing your stencils through your machine? So like I just did, Fran, I know you've got a different machine you mentioned, but they pretty much all work the same. Just have a little look in your instruction booklet and it will tell you what stack you need to be using to send your stencils through. Because they do all vary. It's always about, you know this I'm sure, but every machine has rollers in it pretty much, and it's all about getting the bit in the middle, the bit we're sending through it, to be the right pressure, the right point, to make sure that them rollers do their job and apply enough pressure. There are a few machines where you can actually move the rollers, they're pretty cool, but it's all about making sure that we're squidging it hard enough to make sure it does something in the middle really. So yeah, look in your instructions. If you don't have a rubber mat, you can usually buy like a general rubber mat or get a rubber mat to go for your machine, but there are generalised ones. But it's all about basically using a rubber mat to go through it to emboss it. You can do it with other materials as well. If you can't get hold of a rubber mat for any reason, like a sheet of funky foam can sometimes do enough sort of detail. Sometimes even just another piece of card can be enough to just squidge on it. We just want a bit of pressure. It doesn't have to be the world. Any other tips for that? So we can do another thing after we've done this, which works really nicely, and we'll use the stencil in a different way, so you see a different idea from that as well. So just going through our colours, so now we're going to go for some of the dried marigold. So we've had the seedless preserves, we're going to do the dried marigold, and we had a little bit of the stormy sky, but the stormy sky was a little bit dry. Some of my pads are getting a bit older, to be fair, so I need to get the re-inkers and start re-inking them. But we'll blend that over the top, and then I am thinking, because I needed a bit more colour, should we bring in something else to the party? I'm also thinking with the next technique we're going to do with this stencil, maybe something a bit bolder might come through slightly better. So should we bring in, let's go Sea Breeze Blue, and maybe a bit of the sunrise yellow. Let's start off with the sunrise yellow and see how that looks. So these are the metallic inks. We're going to take off a small amount of the excess, and we don't want to cover up too much of what's under there that we've just created, but it'll be nice to bring in a slightly different feel. Take off the excess of that one, and I'll go in for the old sea breeze. Going over the edges here, and we might get a bit of a green form through the blending, which could be quite nice. Going down here as well. Go around the top there. I think that'll do. So again, because we chose to emboss this first, as we've coloured over the top, we're going to have a slightly different effect to if we'd just coloured with our stencil. Now I'm trying not to play with the tape, but it's going to have to play ball. Come here, tape. Come here. There we go. So if we remove that bit, we can now see not only have we created colour, but because we embossed, we've got depth as well. And to me, if you're going to blend for a stencil, embossing it first really sets that aside. It gives you a crisp wall to what we've created, and it gives you texture. So when we sort of see it, in reality, it's got more depth to it and more ooh. But out of one stencil, two very different effects. So with what we've put on the stencil, and again, I know you've seen me do this before, I'm sure, but should we use that as well because we've got it? So let's bring that stencil in. We'll lay that on the plate this time. All of the ink's still in place. We'll add a piece of card over the top of that. We'll add the rubber mat over the top of that. So this time, not only are we going to emboss, we're also going to letterpress. So the ink that's on top of the stencil is going to now transfer from the stencil and onto the fresh white piece of card that we've put onto it. And this can be done again, Fran. This is great for doing with different inks, different mediums. There's so many ways we can do this, so many effects we can achieve. Maybe we do this with the re-inkers, maybe we do this with the Elite Misters. There's no real end to this. You can even do this with texture paste if you want to. You could even stamp on it first. So do your inking like we did and then stamp on the top of it and then send it through. Just remember that whatever you've stamped on top is going to be reversed. So if you did wording, it's going to come out back to front because of the way we're taking a print from it. But when it's gone through, we can see what we've done this time is we've coloured the background because we're colouring the area of the stencil this time instead of the apertures within the stencil. So again, from one stencil, two very, very different effects being created. So hopefully that helps a little bit, Fran. Stencils are something I love. You know, I just feel with a stencil, there are so many things we can do. You bring in your texture paste, you start stamping on them and letterpressing with them, you emboss them. Maybe you do this and you stamp over this bit on the raised bit. Maybe you stamp first, then in deboss, like this side, and then ink over the top. So you've got like a fretwork style going on over the top of it instead. That'd look really cool. Especially with a more open work stencil, that could look really fun. I have a feeling I'm talking in riddles and no one's going to have a clue what I mean by that. Shall I show you? This is something I used to love doing with embossing folders. And yes, we are going off on tangents we're not meant to be. But that's fine. That's what a playtime's all around. It's about trying to show you bits you might not have seen before or refreshing your mind on things you have. So let's make sure we're in the stamp press before we go off on a tangent. So we'll use the Latin script stamp for this one. I love this stamp. I love a script. A script is something that is, to me, an absolute essential because it's just something that goes in for any theme, any occasion, every theme, really. I can't wait to do Christmas cards this year with this stamp in mind. I can see this being done in the sticky stuff glue and then being flaked with something like the Magpie Gold flakes to make a really regal looking background. I think that could be kind of nice. And then what we're going to do then is we are going to take a stencil. This one's got slightly larger open work. So what way around do we want to do this? Because we want to, I might get this wrong, I'm not going to lie to you. It's a long time since I've done this. So if we do it that way, we do it that way, we're going to end up with them bits in the middle being raised. So we want to go that way. So we're going to try and aim for something like that. There's a 50-50 chance I've got this wrong. I bet you're all at home going, that's not the right way. Don't do that. But we'll see. We can always do it again. It's the good bit. It's never a problem. If it goes terribly wrong, we'll do it again. we have time, we have card, we can do it again. Add our mat on the top and we'll send this through. Any more questions or suggestions or people?
No, I'm wondering if my comments, oh no, they come, I wonder if they're frozen.
I expected hundreds
they're
of
all
celebrity
engrossed.
comments.
Quite a few.
I was like, there's loads of people I'd like to watch. Loads, maybe not in Big Brother in fairness, but loads of people I'd like to have a little nose at and see and kind of get to know what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe we could rerun the question. Okay,
again. So to win whatever we make this evening, we would like to know which celebrity would you like to lock in the Big Brother house? They can be alive or dead because we have that power. So anybody at all that you would like to lock in the Big Brother house that's classed as a celebrity, tell us and Pete will pick a winner to win whatever we make this evening. So I think I got it the right way around, which is kind of a miracle because I had a proper moment of panic there. So stencil on the reverse, stamping on the top, deboss elements, keeping the stencil in place like we did before, and then taking the ink over the top. Now I've chose to stick with the same coloured ink because it was quicker and easier, but you could of course do this in different colours to create a completely different effect. You could of course mist over the top of this, that might look quite nice. If you was to do this and mist over it as well, the ink is water proof is the word I'm looking for. So maybe something like an elite mister over the top of this could look kind of nice. I'm going to push down a little bit harder because I'm quite happy for a bit of the red to go through in this one. It's a more open stencil. So if we get a bit of red going through, I think it's going to match in and look kind of cool. I'm going to go all the way around the edges, knowing that we would trim that off. And I actually like how this is looking, and I have a feeling I know where this panel could go. So we're going to finish that off properly because I think that's actually really lovely and could possibly go into a card for next week's sneaky peek. I think that would be perfect. I really like that. So that's a different idea. So stamp it, then emboss it, then go over the top with your ink so that you've created that kind of fretwork style with a hidden background. And as I say, you can do this with embossing folders, but stencils again, kind of cool because stencils are very inexpensive, but yet you can achieve so many different styles with them. That's cool, isn't it? Do we like that? What do we think to that idea? Let me know in the comments. Is it one you've seen us do before? One that you've just thought that's different? I'm going to give that a go. Tell me what you're thinking. Confessions and thoughts, that's what we like. So we'll move these bits out of the way and we will finish this card because we've told you we're going to give it away, so we better finish it. Although I can see we are over time. So we'll do this and then maybe we'll have a look at a couple of samples and then we're going to leave you all in peace for the evening. So we're going to bring in our card blank, we're going to go for a piece of black card and we're going to lay that on the top here and we'll give you a size of the card blank so you've got an idea of what size we're at. So we are looking at 5 1/4 inches by 9 1/4 inches for this one. So quite a big card, which is nice to work with. And then we're going to go on for our next panel, again just using some 1mm foam tape and we're going to place that one down on top here. And when I do something, I like to, this isn't me blowing my own trumpet, quite the opposite. But if I do something like this, I think it looks a bit arty, a bit museum-y. I don't know why. But whenever I do that style, in my mind, it's got a style, it's got a purpose, it's got a look. I tend to do this double frame of black and white. You might have seen I've done this before. Lots of different sizes, but it's always this same double frame. Because to me, it does look a little bit then like an art gallery or kind of just needs a little sign on the front there that says, you know, £10 million. $10 million done by whoever. I don't know why. It's just something I speak as if I ever go to art galleries, but it just to me gives that look of that double black and white frame. I kind of like that look. So this one is a different stencil. There are 20 stencils in the Stencil Vault release if you didn't see these last week. This one I think is called Faded Rings if I remember rightly. But again, it's lovely debossed or embossed. That's the one we've gone for on this one. On the original one we went for Cracked Mirror. So again, different stencils, different looks. And then we're going to bring in our little butterfly. And this one's a slightly smaller butterfly, but I think that's kind of working. And we're going to place that down on the top there instead. I think a slightly smaller butterfly works because it's less of a pattern, where it sort of fades in. It's kind of smaller, But of course you could change that for a bigger one if you prefer. You might want to add some wording. It could have gone this way. You could have some nice flowers going around it. There's lots of options, but it gives you an idea of demo number 2. So should we have a little look at a few samples from the Stencil Vault and a little run through of some of the stencil designs, just in case you didn't see these. I don't feel we shared these with you last week. The whole Stencil Vault kind of come about last week out of the blue, didn't it? I don't know if you agree with that, but where we normally show you on the sneaky peeks what's coming and we tell you lots about it, we didn't with these because we didn't think they were going to be ready in time. And then we took them to the craft store shows last Monday and they were very, very popular. But you never get to see all of the samples, do you? It's impossible. We only have an hour, so you're never going to see loads of everything. And then last Monday for the stockist launch, I think we might have looked at a couple of them, but we didn't look at many. So it'll be nice to show you a bit more detail with these. So number 1 is faded rings, and these are all numbered to make it easy for you to collect them. You might have also noticed on mine, and this certainly isn't something you need to do, but for me it's nice that I can tell you which one I'm working with. I've just used a Sharpie to write on the top of them so I know which numbers are which. And you've got that little tab that tells you they're the Stencil Vault, so you know where they are. So number 1 is faded rings. Just a very simple card that I did here with that one being embossed, even embossed on the little plate in the middle. And then we'll move on to number 2, which is mosaic diamonds. I love this one. This one's probably my favourite. I think it's because it's the most intricate. It's one you're seeing quite a few demos going forward, I feel, because I really do like this. We shared this card on Facebook earlier this week. This again is done similar to what we just did in that demo where we've embossed it, and then I've gone over the top with oxide inks. Oh, these are cute. Look at this. Sharon did this on our lovely design team. Sharon's made a little gift bag, or decorated a little gift bag, and embossed it just on the circle here and in the background. And this is really nice because sometimes we look at stencils, we look at everything, don't we? And we kind of think it's big, it's got to be used. No, it doesn't. Let's strip it back and just use it in smaller bits. Another one here by Sharon, just showing you embossed in one colour and left as it is. Looks really smart and elegant. Really like that one. Very clean and crisp and cool. And then we'll move on to number 3. So this is the Mosaic Diamonds Large. So the last one was small, this one's large. And we've done this intentionally. We've given you the same designs but in different sizes so that you can possibly use that one as the background, this is the foreground, or run them through your project in different ways. I always think it gives an air of luxury when you can see the same design used in multiple places in different sizes. Really shows some intent and sort of thought's gone into what you're doing. I always go on about this when we bring you paper pads, or we talk about paper pads that have got the same items in different sizes running through them. So to be able to do that in stencil form, I thought was a really nice idea. This one's done by Ian, showing you how, because it's quite a large format piece, you might want to use it to make toppers with. Here's one that I've done where I've embossed it and then I've rubbed some ink over the top of it. I think shaded lilac from the Oxide family, just to kind of give you a bit of a lilac look over the top of the navy. And then another one here, this one done by Ian again, and he's embossed it and stuck to just shades of pink, which is really lovely. Let's go over the top of that one. Then we move on to number 4, sliced circles. Oh, I like this. It reminds me of Christmas baubles, which I think is really lovely because a Christmas is never far away, is it? But it doesn't have to be baubles, especially depending on the direction you use it in. Could just be a really cool retro design. Could be beach balls if you was going to be doing something summery. But if you do want to go for that kind of Christmassy look, it will work for that. These ones, I think, these are Wendy. Wendy's done these ones. So again, texture paste this time, going through that one. This is gorgeous. Look how pretty this one is. How beautiful is that? That, of course, is our gemstones texture paste in the pink sapphire and then being brushed over the cosmos flower. Really, really pretty, that one. And then one here from me on the Christmas theme, bringing back the Christmas tree that we see earlier. And again, sticking to the gold texture paste, same as what Wendy had done here, but using it on top of the white and then adding the Christmas tree on the top there. Then we move on to sliced circles large. So same design as before, but again done in a bigger format. And then again, a couple here done by me in Christmassy. So this time blending all of the gemstones texture paste together to make that sort of multicoloured bumper car style glitter. And then using the Happy Christmas circular sentiment as a bauble with a little bit of ribbon on it. This one's cool. This one is done by Lynn. So Lynn's done some blending and then she's made her own glittery texture paste to put over the top of it. She's also brought in the hot air balloon from the lace collection, which is very lovely to see. Fits very nice on a DL card, that one. And then another Christmas one, this time done by Lynn. So this time she's inked through the stencil to make the background, brought in the poinsettias and added those on, and again gone for the Merry Christmas circle sentiment to top that one off, which looks very lovely. Then we go to Puddles. Oh, I do remember, we did have a little look at these last week, didn't we? Because we were talking about Puddles, who isn't Puddles.
It's Bubbles.
Bubbles.
That's right.
But that was the conversation we had last week. So if you've seen all of these once, then I'd forgot. I'm ever so sorry, but it's nice to see them again, isn't it? The DT works so hard on all of the samples, and then we just whisk them past you in 2 minutes, and it's kind of unfair. The amount of work that goes into all of these and time and energy to share and kind of try and inspire you. It's nice to be able to share a bit more of them or make sure you've seen them if you've already missed them. Moving on to the next one, we have got Tropical Florals, 7th in the family. This is letterpressing created from the print that we did on this one. So what was left on the stencil, letterpressing off to create that one. This is a demo we did on the craft store last week. You can still watch them shows back if you missed them. This one again embossed and then inked over the top with a little added gilding flake that's coming for the ride. There we go, get rid of that. But embossed and coloured with oxide inks, again, quite nice soft shades. Oh, this one's lovely. This one's done by Sharon, and Sharon's done some stamping with a newsprint stamp in the background, then stenciled over the top, which I thought looked really, really lovely. Then added some flowers on the top and a little ribbon, and done another little side panel over this side as well. And then another one showing you the embossed work, and this is nice because it's showing you how you can really sort of strip it back. It doesn't have to be full on, although it is a big stencil, it doesn't have to be. So she's used it here with our nested tile die set and just embossed the panel in the middle. Looks really lovely. Then we've got Pebbles. We had Puddles, now we've got Pebbles. So Pebbles again, DL stencil, loads of beautiful little pebble elements on this one. You might have seen this card shared this week where I'd embossed it and done a bit of white work with it, which looks really lovely. Sharon's gone to town with her inking to create this one, inking on multiple layers and building up. Sharon's done a bit of mixed media here as well, as what I would class a bit of a mixed form of that, which is really pretty, and brought in some different stencils, done some really cool techniques. It looks a bit like encaustic art to me, which is lovely, and created that effect on this one. And then another one that Sharon's done here with some texture paste in the middle, where she's created the texture paste using the re-inkers and the clear texture paste to make the colours that she's used through the edges. Very, very nice. Then we move on to number 9. Number 9 is our dot dash DL. This one's cool. I don't know why, but I feel this one's kind of good for masculine cards, possibly because of the samples we've created. This one done by Wendy, bringing in the tools, which are now back in stock. They come back in stock a couple of weeks ago. This one is Ian. Ian's gone for a trailing kind of vine look up a brick wall, which is very, very nice. This one's done by myself, and I have made my texture paste again using clear texture paste and the Elite Mister and a bit of glitter. So you might see a little bit of sparkle coming through in that one. And then added the motorbike onto that one and the happy birthday. This one's cool. Whose is this one? I can never remember who makes them. This one's Ian. So Ian again, velvet script for the dad at the top there. Some beautiful tools coming in underneath. And I really like the little splats of ink that Ian's put through there. And also not missing the little screw heads that have gone into the corners. It looks very, very cool. I really like this. I think that's very, very, very impressive. And then we move on to another one. This one is done by Wendy. This is very smart. Wendy has used the Gemstones black glitter, which isn't called black, it's called black suede, over the top here to make this very cool look. Very monochromatic, very, very modern. And added on the Cosmos blooms. Cosmos something. Oh, black onyx. Why do you call it suede? What's black suede? What do we do?
Ink
Black
pad.
Yes,
ink
of
pad.
course.
That's right.
Metallic ink, the black suede. This is black onyx. Why don't we call them the same thing? What happened there?
I blame you. You'll blame me.
We can blame each other.
other.
It's fine. Okay, and then we're on to number 10. So 10 is the shattered mirror. This is lovely. This is Wendy. Wendy's done this technique using the clear texture paste over silver mirror card, which I thought looked incredible. Very, very cool. This is one that I demoed on the craft store again using talcum powder or baby powder with our gilding flakes through that stencil. So again, you can see that demo on the craft store if you missed those shows. Wendy's done this one as well, making our own texture base once again and placing it through and adding on the poinsettias. Can you see we're getting ready for Christmas as a DT? Christmas is on the horizon and we are ready for it. There are lots of Christmas cards being snuck through, which is really lovely to see. Then we've got number 11. 11 is the retro squares. This is lovely. This is Ian. I know this is Ian, even without looking. Ian does this so well, this kind of oriental red, black, gold look. I really love how he achieves this. It's always delicate, it's always pretty, and this one is no different. So again, we've got our lovely rippled blooms flowers, we've got the entwined leaves, and we've got that stencil in the background. This one's lovely too. This one is mine, I think, actually. I read the back to look see who made it. That's a bad memory, isn't it? I'm like, oh, this is lovely too. This is lovely. Who's done this one? This is me, apparently, with a little motorbike on the corner. Not that I've made a lot of cards recently, but I'm actually starting to forget which ones I've made. And then we move on to number 12. We have got the rippled satin. Look, this is cool. So rippled satin really does what it says on the tin. It gives you that really cool rippled look. Whether you go through with the inks, whether you do some texture paste through it, whether you just spotlight smaller areas like this one. This is lovely. Love the rose on the edge here. Little happy birthday stamped on there too. Very, very lovely. I'm going to give some of these back to you, Pete, because I'm worried that I'm crushing them. So I'm going to pass them off in an attempt to exchange. But you can see here, hopefully, why we're going through them again. Because of when you look through a collection like this, and we tell you there's 20 items in it, as a company, between us all, every item we try to do 2 or 3 of each product at least, because we want you to have that inspiration. So when we're talking about 20 different products, that means we've got 60 different cards to share with you. And that's going to be pretty much a minimum. So there's a lot to go through. Then we've got the layered honeycomb. You see this one demoed on last week's live, actually, didn't you? So a version of that was done last week. If you haven't seen it, you might want to watch that one back. This one's done by me, mixing our flakes, our glitters, our inks all together to make a little colour combo there. This one's lovely. This one's Ian again, going very summery. Reminds me of IKEA, the yellow and the blue. Very cool. Have you all seen, anyone who is local to us, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, that we needed an IKEA in Norwich? If you haven't heard already, they're building one. It's only going to be a small one, but they're building one. I'll take a small one, I don't mind. Any IKEA is better than no IKEA, but there is a small one coming to Norwich. They're building 3, not in Norwich, 1 in Norwich, 2 in 2 other towns, can't remember where they are, sorry. But they're building 3 and they're a new format, smaller store. Number 14 is the tiled floor stencil, this time used with the diamond white texture paste. Added some flowers on. This is lovely. This one I think is Wendy, isn't it? Yeah, Wendy's gone through here. Bit of blending, bit of texture paste added on that lovely lattice panel. And then these are Wendy with the cars as well. So a bit of inking, embossed, inked, hot rods put onto it, little flags, congratulations. Very, very cool. Very, very nice. I know they don't have to be for men's cards, but Father's Day is not that far away. I think that's June, isn't it? 15, only 5 more to go, I promise, and then I'll stop. Sliced Diamonds is number 15. Again, coming in with the mirror card this time, adding in the cogs. This is lovely. Who's this one? This one is Lynn. So cogs, motorbike, very, very cool. Happy anniversary on the corner there. Then we've got another one here done by Lynn with some texture paste and the racing car and the flags again. I like the way that the cards have come in to lots of these samples. Really nice to see those sort of coming in and being sort of yo-yoed throughout them. Another one I've done here, mixing the texture paste to make that glittery background and then adding the happy birthday on from the tiled collection on the top there. Then number 16 is our Enchanted Star. This is lovely. Really beautiful stencil, so delicate. Again, very nice for Christmas. So this time I've done the letter pressing like we did in the demo. So inked it up with a metallic ink, sent it through to letter press it to get that effect. There's probably somewhere around here the other side of that as well, I should imagine, but I don't know where it is. Then we've got Lynn here. Lynn's done this very cool modern look where she's made her own texture paste again using the metallic ink as in the clear texture paste and layered that one up using the elements from the nested set. These nested pieces fit so nicely onto these slim lines, don't they? That looks lovely. Then we've got another one here by Lynn doing some ink blending. Little butterfly on there. I like the little frame created with the circle die to make that sort of slimline look. Very, very cool. Then we've got number 17, the diamond lattice. So I've embossed it this time and done some inking with metallic inks over the top of it. Lynn has done some very cool texture paste mixing and then added flowers on like a little trellis for this one here. This one's lovely, again done by Lynn, bringing in the metallic inks and blending those over the top and adding the happy birthday onto that one. Then we move on to number 18, which is our layered rings. I like this. It reminds me of a posh hotel. No idea why, but it reminds me of kind of like the fretwork you'd expect to see in the lobby. Probably on my own with that one, but it gives me that look. These samples are done by Ian, if I remember rightly. Ian has created a little easel here with that stencil being focal on the front, but when we go on to the inside, we've of course got the retro squares from earlier, making up the base stopper, all done on the clouded in mystery, which is very, very nice. Then we've got a very simple one. I shared this on Facebook earlier this week, probably the easiest card I've ever made. Just layered up again in that kind of arty double stack look, embossed and added some pearls. Or gems. I needed to add something to it, but I kind of didn't want to because I didn't want to distract from it. So I've kind of put it into the category of if you just want to send a card to say thank you, or you know, maybe somebody's done something nice for you, or maybe you're not too sure what to say and you just want a little note, or maybe you want to give some money or something at a random stage when it's not a birthday or something. Kind of a nice simplistic way to do that. Very cool Christmas card here, again bringing in our lovely holly. That's actually layered, but it's kind of got a bit flat in the samples, but layered up. Merry Christmas on the top there. And then another one by Ian, going for the golds and the reds. Very elegant, very nice, very pretty. Then we move on to number 19, the buckled squares. This is cool. I really like the way this one's done. A very effective look. So buckled squares can come in, oh, they've gone, timber. Reminds me of like the penny machines when they kind of fall, and it's not good because they're lovely work that somebody's created. And I'll hold them this way a bit more. There we go. So here we have one done by Sharon, where Sharon has put the little octagons onto the top there, added the music notes on. I really like the little band there, the gilding flakes. They're very, very pretty. Are you going to retrieve my cards, please? Sorry, thank you. This one is done with the sticky stuff glue, and I've stippled through the stencil on the top and then added the flakes and glitter over the top in silvers, and then added the butterflies and the flowers over the top of that one. Another one where I didn't really want to cover it. This one is using the rose quartz from the Gemstones texture base and then just adding little gold gems into the middles. Very, very simple, very, very easy. Thank you. I don't like the idea of them down there. They need to be back up here. I don't like that. Okay, and then here's another one done by Sharon where she has coloured it with some yellows, brought in some beautiful florals. Very, very pretty. And then lastly, we've got the patio paving. Patio paving is number 20, and just some very simple ones here to share with you. This is one I've done where I've made my own mix using clear texture base and the Elite Misters. One here by Sharon. This is cool. Sharon's embossed it and then she's put on Hazardous Henry over the front of it, and then a few tools to finish it off to give you a little idea. So any questions on those, I'll pause for breath. Please let me know and we'll do our best to answer them for you while I pass these off to Peter to take a little bit more care of them and put them back in their rightful places. Now I can see that Fran has asked how much these are and Diane has answered for me. Thank you, Diane. That's really appreciated. The recommended retail price for these is $4.99. So yeah, have a little look around, but they are meant to be $4.99. They're a lovely stencil size to work with. Many of them can be matched up to be made larger as well, which is kind of lovely because it's a nice way to be able to do larger backgrounds, but with smaller items. Oh, okay, Peter, it's coming to that time where we need our winner to send. We only made 2 cards tonight. I'm sorry, we didn't do a lot, did we? I ain't stopped gassing, have I? But we will send you the 2 cards that we've made this evening. So if Peter, if we could please have your winner.
Yes, absolutely. So congratulations this evening goes to... Oh, I didn't realise I was getting the camera as
Decided, it's a bit like the Eurovision Song Contest where they go back to the guy who goes, I'm the adjudicator and I've done all the votes. That bit.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, I disappoint. So tonight, congratulations goes to, for a controversial answer possibly, Linda Lipscomb Prickett with Nigel Farage, because you'd like to see how
he did the jungle.
He gets on. He did, didn't he?
He did do the jungle.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations, Linda.
We didn't watch a lot of that, did we? Not because of him, because of I don't like the jungle. Too many creepy crawlies.
Too many bugs, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, and we tend to watch telly with dinner. That ain't something you want to watch with dinner, is it? So we don't tend to do that. But we did watch them go in, I feel.
Feels like forever ago now.
But
when was it?
I don't know.
Last week.
I don't know. But I know that we watched them go in. That's about all I can remember. That's about it. Well done. Congratulations. Could you please message us and let us know if you would like us to sign the cards for you or if you would like us to leave them plain, and if you could send us your address, that would be lovely, and we will get them popped in the post for you as soon as possible. If anybody has any more questions, I will answer them. If not, we're going to leave you in peace. The samples are lovely. It's lovely to see you all giving so much love to them. Genuinely, the team do so many incredible samples. We're really, really grateful to them because there's only so many hours in a day, and even if there was more hours and even if we could get them all done ourselves, it's bigger than that. It's being able to share with you guys inspiration in all different styles, because everybody has their lane, don't they? Their things they like to do, and actually when we build the team, we've got an incredible team, but as we build the team, we see all of these different styles come in and all of these different colourways and ideas, and it's really lovely to be able to share them all with you and to hopefully give you a bit of inspiration. It's like I always say, you might not like every bit of a project, but if you can take one idea off of it, one placement of a gem, one matte layer, one colour scheme you haven't thought of, we've done our job. We've inspired something. That's all that matters. Okay, we're going to leave you in peace for now. Thank you all very much for watching. We will see you next Monday at 7 p.m. when it will be sneaky peek time. And the gap around here somewhere, this little gap, we're going to reveal what's going to go in there. Because it needs to be filled, doesn't it? We can't have a gap. Can't have a gap. It's got to have something. So next week, next Monday, 7 p.m, come and join us. We'll tell you what's going in there. Maybe a few other bits too. I would tease you with a number, but I can't remember the number.
It's quite a lot.
Is it a lot? It's a bad week when I can't remember what we're doing and how many items there are.
More than last time.
9, 15, 17, 16.
Remember the 10.
16. Is it that? I don't know. We're going to stick with the idea. There's over 20 items that we'll introduce you to next Monday. So over 20 items. That's all we're going to tell you now for now. Okay, all. Thank you for a lovely evening. Thanks for giving us your time. Thanks for having a laugh with us. Thanks for joining in, and we will see you all next week, 7 p.m, if we don't see you before. Have a lovely week, and thank you for joining us.
Good night.
Don't say that too quickly. I've got no idea where the button is.
Good night
It's gone.
again.
It's gone. I can never find the button. Okay, night all. Bye.